Okay, can we talk about the redistribution of wealth and its practical relationship to nature, agriculture, wealth of nature, has been taken from so many cultures, I know, especially women and children, I know, who make up 70% of the world's population living in poverty. Oh, bless you. One example is the deforestation, which has created loss of basic foods and herbal medicines for basic survival. Oh, I know. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful, heartfelt question. Thank you. So the first thing I'd like to say in response to this, thank you for this thoughtful question, is that we did a huge amount of work on behalf of the women and children, on behalf of the very, very poor people in places like, certain countries in Africa, and various other locations on earth that are very, very poor. We did most of yesterday's webinar was in this area. But let's think in terms of practical. Poverty really depend upon the foods that they can gather, the herbs, the medicinal herbs they can gather for, taking care of their children and so forth. So we're looking at the junction between the golden energies, and everything's a fractal, right? So we can work with it directly within our physiologies where we have access to it and it makes sense and we can get immediate feedback, or we do something and then we feel what it feels like that. So between that really golden sunlight energy, which is also behind agriculture, the sun, and the earth energy. And what I'm seeing here with the earth energy is we're utilizing the healing that took place earlier in this webinar when the power or capabilities of the celestial body integrated more completely into the denser energies or the denser structures of the physiology, the denser levels of the physiology, because that's where the key comes into protecting and preserving the environment. What we're looking at here, the environment, the plants and the herbs and the trees and the forests and so forth, they're all building off of how things go for them is a byproduct of organization that takes place on the level of consciousness within the realms that we would call the Devic realms of the earth devas, the intelligences within the earth. Our whole big earth, just like our whole big body, we have intelligences just for the digestive system, or just for the immune system, or just for the endocrine system. We've got one little intelligence just for your gallbladder, and another intelligence for your right earlobe, and so forth. So your left nostril. So the earth also, and those areas where the forests are, and those areas where the forests aren't, and those areas where the forests need to rebuild, need to regrow. And what we're doing is we're looking at those energies, those Devic energies, which exist within us at the celestial level of our physiology. And the word practical in this question is a key point. How do we integrate that into the denser levels so that the devas, which naturally live in the forests, are able to function in such a way, are able to let go of whatever imbalance might create vulnerability or weakness, that can give more supportive nature to those who are deforesting the area than supportive nature to those who want to keep the forests, which are the devas, of course, and some people. So we're looking at the boundaries and limitations created, again, by greed and selfishness, which is behind the deforestation. And every time you hit up against a really big, dark, yucky energy like that, it's always this grand opportunity to provide the energy necessary to meet it with one's divine being. And as a group, we can do this. Thank you to my friend who wrote the question here. So one of the things that's happening is a lot of fear is being released from the system. Just feeling that fear going. The other thing that's happening is an infusion of this goldeny light into the area of agriculture, into the areas of the world where the deforestation is taking place into the minds and the thinkings. When we can bring a level of satisfaction, satiation, resolution, or completion to those who are acting out of fear and greed and selfishness, then they don't feel like they have to. When there's more satisfaction, then they can step back and say, what would be a creative way to fulfill my desire that also is supportive of the environment? How about a sustainable solution? Then they can sit back and feel sustainable. But when they're feeling like, I just, like an addict, I just need more of that thing, then they can't, there's no extra energy there for thinking in terms of sustainability. Just as we were working with the words financial institution and banking system and so forth, there's a sustainable movement. And that is receiving. That is where the energy wants to go. That's where the attention wants to go. We're going into the factions of our earth that are committed to sustainability, and they're receiving the same healing that everybody in this group received. We can do the 100th monkey effect. Here we want it for everyone on earth, of course, and for those who are living in poverty and who are living in areas where they're losing their natural resources. What we're doing is we're rebuilding the natural resources from within. And when they have been rebuilt from within, then spontaneously the environment, the resources will come from the outside that support the more sustainable practices. It's one of the big areas of transformation and change. Divine Mother's behind this whole thing. The Mother of the Universe is really enjoying. And again, now the third or fourth time, this particular quality of energy is moving into the area of sustainability, which has a greenish color, not surprising to anyone. Green and gold together, the greens and the golds together, moving into that area. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And what's happening is, at this moment, many people who have already vested interest in sustainable practices and sustainability, students who are studying in the field of sustainability, what's happening is there's a big infusion of divine cognition for all these people to bring in really new, even greater creative ideas that will help them take concrete steps they'll want to move on that are exciting for them. They can move on to go into the places of greatest need and provide the resources that are necessary in that area, garner the resources, harness up the resources necessary to create the effects that will help the people that are in greatest poverty and are most dependent upon their natural resources. It may take a little while, it may not happen in one day, but let's asking Lord Kalabhairava, asking that aspect of our divine, our celestial body, which oversees time, can we bend time in such a way as to take this download, which is actually, we're experiencing it happening right now, bend it back in time and put it back, as far back in time as the Mother Creation feels is appropriate, so that can already have happened. So that those people working in the field of sustainability have already had their idea and they've already started moving on it, so it can move forward as quickly as possible. And we can see the bursting forth or the breaking forth into the field of modern life, all these creative ideas and solutions and inventions and so forth that will help support sustainability. I'm watching what just happened in its relationship with the political process. Going back in time and offering forth the inspiration to bring leaders who are supportive of sustainability, who may not have originally thought, maybe I should run for a position which will allow me to do this, and just give them that idea. All of nature supports, all the natural beings support He who is in support of sustainability. You guys are so awesome.